And she has a master's degree in archaeology, Kim, is that right?
Yes, archaeology and heritage.
Okay. So, you know, it's a nice presentation. It's about bringing things and either trying to preserve them or at least bring awareness to these historical things that we have. And Ray's branch is part of it. If you want to know it's historical.
We try to give me a trouble here.
But in just reading through this, I was surprised about the Nickel home, circa 1930, Corey Avenue. There is, I guess, Hattie Melrose, it's a farmer, 1847, 1890. There's the Hash General Store. There's Indian elements in our area, which are rocks that were used by the Indians to make their green. And there's a lot of stuff out here I wasn't even unaware of in our presentation here. A Native American Kupal rock, did I pronounce that right? Cupula rock on the Lannon Ranch. Where's the Lannon Ranch?
It's on the other side.
Further up the canyon.
Or up the canyon?
At least almost to the end.
Up Anthony Road. No, that's up Anthony Road, not up our canyon. Oh, no, that's what I said, Lannon Ranch.
So,
Lannon Ranch, up Anthony Road, yeah.
so the question is, and this is for me being a layman here, is there a historical society other than individual things for Acton here?
Yes.
There is, and who maintains that, or who
It's
runs it?
in the paper, I don't know who the chair is, but they
Excuse me?
just started.
Bob
A couple
Beekner
years ago.
is the head of it.
And what's his last name?
Beekner, B-E-U-C-H-N-E-R.
It's in the paper.
Okay. So,
There's also the Women's Club, if I may just add this. The Women's Club has done a complete, well, it may not be complete, but it covers a lot of that. Historical, we have DVDs that we did several years ago, and there's a lot of information there. And there's a book, Heritage Happenings, which is out of print, but covers all of the historical. I don't know if you're aware of all of that, but it would seem that the Historical Society, which is already formed, would be a good starting point.
well, and that's what I think. Kim just had this idea. She does a lot of hiking here, and I thought if there was something already formed, she could work with this other group and help add things to it. And I thought just, you know, even on our website, it would be kind of cool to even have a historical hiking map. Someone can do a day trip and just kind of, as long as they're not marching through people's living rooms. And, you know, but I thought that would be good. So, Bob, do you have, and Bob's name is in the journal?
It's in the Journal under Organizations and Services with a phone number. And the Historical Society meets the second Tuesday of the month here at the library.
The second Tuesday of every month. Okay, so I'm going to give this to Kim and she can update this, which I thought she did great on this. And thank you, Kim.
And what's Kim's last name, please?
Kim Best.
Okay.
And we'll see if she can't work with what's already established. And come up with
Now, would
solutions.
you like to have some of this information on the Acton Town Council website? Is that something you want?
Are you talking?
No, I'm not
Okay.
Yeah.
You're not making a presentation, but she can.
Kim, I know
It's
you're
a yes or no question.
Kim, I know you're shy. You're going to have to talk.
I was just trying to figure out how to approach this meeting for preserving certain heritage aspects of Acton. And I didn't know anything about the town council or this heritage society, none of that. So that was my goal, was to find out.
Just I mean, that's the town council, and the website really wasn't intended for that kind of thing, but it is local information, so, you know, if you want to put the presentation together when it's finished, and you want to get in contact with me, we can give it a page. And
Would it be appropriate to have her meet with the local society, the local representatives already?
you can put it there too. Well, either way, I mean,
Yeah, because they are an established organization here. And probably most people would, prefer if it goes to an established organization and gets put up on the website if we do something like that. Not discounting anything she's done, but just go through the proper groups and all that.
it just, it could be on both. You know, it's, we wouldn't be maintaining it, we would just be putting it out there for you. hanging it out there.
Maybe Kim can contact Bob, get together, and then maybe somewhere we can put it up, either if they have a website or just put a link to it.
Either way.
Okay. All right, sorry, Kim, I know I put you on the spot. You said you weren't going to talk tonight, but that's the way it goes. The sheriff report, Deputy Short, are you here?
Oh, yeah.
You were back from vacation?
No, I wasn't on vacation, I was in Arizona for competition and training.
Oh.
And they didn't get back till like 9 o'clock.
Did you win anything? Was it a competition?
No.
No.
All right. Well, I was listening to the lively discussion, I guess I missed last week. Good luck, you're gonna have an entire uphill battle, because I don't wanna, but I just participated in closing 3 in the Little Rock area because the county doesn't really support it.
Yes,
And-
they were illegal or were they approved to go in?
Well, they were approved in the first place, but you're subject to review by zoning and planning and the NAT team and everybody else. And in fact, they're gonna do another one coming up this week, so, yeah. And by the way, even your discreet delivery, that crime, which is transportation of marijuana for sales, has never been reduced. So it's still a felony,
Really?
yes. And possession of marijuana in your vehicle is a felony. So if you go to the collective and pick it up, you get caught with it in the front seat of your car. That's possession of vehicle, which is about as much as a DUI.
There's not an amount that pushes you
Nope.
from, it's just any amount?
Any amount in your vehicle,
Even if it's for medical use?
even if it's for medical use, because that's a DMV section that has never been revised.
So the
And it still has the full
discrete
penalty.
delivery is not,
No.
not a...
And they tell you it is, but we catch them all the time. Because they're selling it and delivering it to your house, so that's transportation for sales. So, just so you know.
So you said there's 3 of them that are closing and closing?
Well, we've closed one, and they tried to move to another place, and we caught up with them there. And they're right now under watch for that one, and then there's 2 on Pear Blossom that we closed, and they keep reopening, and they keep going, getting closed. Last time we put a cease and desist order from the DA and said, you will close or you're all going to jail. And so we haven't heard from them in a while. Just so you know, it's going to be an entire uphill battle, so.
Maybe short, I have a question then.
Yes.
How do people go to these medical marijuana dispensaries, buy something and go home? Because
Well,
you're saying, if you
We're
have
telling
it
you
in
if
your
it's
car.
your own with a card, and you put it in your trunk,
Uh-huh.
we're probably not going to bother you. But when you get stopped and you have your bowl and your pipe sitting in the front of the car.
I get it now.
We'd be like,
Just like an open container. And it's like,
And I don't have one, so don't say your. No, but you have.
yeah, unfortunately, people do that, and I just tell you, you know what, if you put it in the trunk, and we don't see it,
Because I just was wondering how she's
We're
going
not
to
gonna
sell
probably-
this. Because you could be sitting outside of her dispensary and going,
and
okay,
there's nothing illegal about that either.
that's what I'm saying.
So,
Okay.
Like a shooting gallery.
it's like a sham.
I thought it was under an ounce was a ticket.
Not if it's in your vehicle.
It's in your vehicle?
It's possession of marijuana in a vehicle, it's a vehicle code section, it counts the same as a DUI. It will run you between $15,000 and $27,000 to go fight that ticket in court. And it will run your insurance record as equivalent to the DUI.
So if it's in your trunk, then it's a ticket?
Well, if it's in your trunk and you have a card, you're not have access to it, so it's just like a gun. With the gun in your trunk, it's not possession of a gun in a vehicle. You keep your loaded gun next to you in a car, that's possession of a gun in a vehicle,
Right.
that's a felony.
Or an
Well,
open
a
alcohol
gun-
beverages.
Or an open alcohol beverage container in your car.
Yeah.
The whole thing is access. If you keep your paraphernalia and your stuff in your trunk,
So.
and you transport it to your home from the clinic, no issue. But like I said, you have it sitting on the front seat of your car, it's an issue. And, you know, I think I've written 2 of those tickets in 10 years, mostly because they wanted to argue with me about, but I'm not smoking it. Tell the judge.
Bill Clinton.
He didn't inhale. He didn't inhale. He just, but didn't inhale. I remember that. And he wasn't driving.
You just,
That's the big thing.
get somebody bring it to them.
Yeah. There you go. All right.
I never knew that.
No, well, see, you have to read the law. And I mean, I'm not telling you, but there's a penal code, the vehicle code, the health and safety code, and like 27 others. They'll change one but not the others. And so, and we have to enforce many of those sections from many codes, business and professions, health and safety. And we see it go, oh, they didn't change that one. And the narco guys are very good about telling us, oh, by the way, this one didn't change, this one didn't change, this one didn't change. So, I'm just fair warning. I warn people first. After that, if you get stuck, you were warned. So,
An arbitrary application of the law,
no,
if you've got conflicting
it's not conflicting. One pertains to vehicles, the other is possession by a person. Two separate entities.
You're saying if it's in the trunk, then that,
If it's in the trunk,
it's a legal way to transport it.
yeah, because you don't have access to it.
But you have to have your card,
You have to have your card,
and you better not have your pipe.
and you better not have your pipe that was just smoked sitting on the front.
So there is a way to get it from point A to point B legally.
That's what I was.
Yes, there is a way to get it
That's
legal,
what I-
and as long as you follow that, you don't have an issue. Not you personally.
I don't know.
Just keeping you informed.
I don't have one, okay? Never done it. I didn't inhale. I don't know. Mr. Clinton.
All
I
right,
know more about this than I ever wanted to know. Whatever.
that's what happens when you go to school. You learn these things.
Okay, I'm done now. It's all good.
Well, we had 11 cases of reports last month. 7 of them were in the theft family, which was 2 grand theft autos, and then 4 petty thefts, and then we had, let's see, I think there were 5 petty thefts, 1 arson, and to a motor vehicle. And then 1 burglary residence, and I haven't been able to locate that address here in Acton, so I'm wondering if they did screw up with the statistical code for the location, so I'm still looking for that one. And then we had 2 cases, different reports at the same location for assault with a deadly weapon, assault with a firearm, vandalism, and a threat crime.
Was that the Thousand Trails campground?
Matter of fact, both of them are from there, yes.
I've got some questions about that.
I would be happy to answer whatever I know.
Okay, so, there's been a lot more activity of crime in that area. My mail's been getting stolen much more. I've noticed a lot more shady characters walking around, and sitting around on the side of the Soledad Canyon Road where there's nothing there.
Right.
More trash left around there. And then the other day, I was at the post office reporting my mail being stolen, and there was a woman behind me, and she says, oh yeah, I live over by there too. She said, they're actually putting up now, and I don't know if there's any truth to this, but she said that they were putting up parolees over there temporarily when they get out of prison, and that's where their parole officers are coming to see them. And the only reason I'm saying that is that they did this to me across the street from an office building that I own, and they put it in a days in, and the crime rate went through the roof. Offices were getting broken into, mail was getting stolen, it was just a bunch of petty stuff.
Right.
So I don't know if that's true, or if that's something you can tell us you know anything
Well,
about.
I can tell you that, to my knowledge, there is no different amount of parolees, because I get notice of people being released to here from prison.
Okay.
I've only seen 1 in the last month, and they didn't go to Thousand Trails.
And do parole officers tell you where they're placing these people at all?
They don't have, I go into a state system, and it tells me where they live. And I could say, let me see all the parolees in this circle, and it'll identify them by name and address and where they are.
Okay.
Well, but there are a number of pedophiles who live down there, and they are registered as having committed lewd in the city's acts on children under the age of 14.
Right now, there's 2. Well, you can't stop them. The law says they have a right to go wherever the state releases them to.
So my next
I
question.
know who they are
I'm
because
just
they're
saying that
registered.
it's not like convict free, that's all.
No, it isn't.
So my next question is, that's a campground, and isn't there a limit to how long people can stay there? And not
Yes.
make that a permanent residence?
They're not allowed to by their CUP.
Okay.
It's 25 days and they have to leave.
For how long before they can come
A
back?
week.
Actually, I
3 days
think
to
it's
a
90
week.
days every 6 months. So if they stay more than 90 days total in a 6-month period, they've extended it. They've gone beyond what they should.
Right, well, the Thousand Trails policy is 25 days.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's their policy, and then you have to leave, because I'm constantly after people who park their motor homes along Crown Valley and Soledad and Antelope Woods and Arastery and all those other places, because under county law, you can't camp on the side of a highway. You have to be in a campground. So it's one of those little, you know what, you can't stop here, you have to move, or you can get, it's a ticket for camping. It's a county misdemeanor for camping by the side of a road in a county area.
Well, Jackie knows more about this too. I've actually spoken with her this week that their CUP is done. It's over.
It expired about 9 years ago.
Oh yeah, and I've been told by the new management they're trying to get it back.
So how do they still operate without a CUP?
It's not up to us, unfortunately. That's up to
Regional planning.
regional planning.
Okay.
And I know they're aware of it because we've discussed it. Because I know White Rock, I think, lost theirs, but they were able to get it added back onto, because they're considered a residence park now instead of a camping park.
Well, there is something that this community should be aware of. In the CUP application, they have asked for a permanent CUP so that it never expires.
Okay.
If we're on the topic, we might ask Norm where we're at on this, since I know he's been
I'll have to follow up.
trying to follow up on
I
it.
know they have applied for
Right,
a redo on their CUP.
Yeah.
I just don't know what's there right now, but I'll find out.
okay.
Norman, and I don't need to ask any more work of you, but,
That's fine.
you know, over there, and that's in the area that I live, they have got a, we call it the RV graveyard. I guess people that have stored RVs there, and to be sure is aware of it, and
Oh, yeah.
when people would stop paying their rent or storage, or it was just something that caught on fire, they'd move it into the back of their property. There's now an old bus there, it looks like a 57 bus.
It's been there for 10 years, by the way.
The door has been open, it's heavy and it was locked, it was open the other night, there was a bunch of stuff pulled out, then it was closed, then it was open again, and right now it's open. So somebody, it's right by the fence line, and so somebody is either living in there or breaking in, so this whole aura of what this place is really starting to become a problem.
Would you be willing to send me an email to that effect? So as I
Absolutely.
follow up, I can
So
share with them some of the concerns from the
Yeah,
community.
if you'd like photos, emails, and again, there's campers there where they're supposed to be there 25 days, is it, or 90 days, or whatever it is, but I mean, there's one that I drive by and it's amusing, it looks like Ma and Pa Kettle, if anyone knows who they are, is living there. They've got flower pots and canopies out, and lawn chairs, and permanent grass. And
some of them are workers, and apparently they're allowed to stay there in lieu of paying rent because they don't get paid, they're free workers.
But that's not part of the CUP.
That's not part of the
There's a
CUP.
limit to the number they can do. And,
When they had the new manager come in, and I met with her because they got rid of the guy, Kevin, who had been there, he was allowing all these people to come in and just stay. Oh yeah, you're a worker, you could stay here. And the county went in and they went through the place, and I want to say they're allowed 3.
I just know there's a limit, so.
There's a limit on how many they can have that could stay there. And some of them, since they're owned by a new company who wants to get more of their return out of it, they're allowing people, so I can go in and buy a site. And I could say, I want M46, I like it. They will allow me to buy that, and I can put up a fence and a storage shed, do whatever I want. And when I leave there, I put a chain on the gate so nobody else can inhabit that spot. And I spend my week or whatever it is out of the park, and I come back and I get my site back. If I tell them, hey, I'm going around the country, I'm going to travel, they can then rent that site out while I'm gone.
Do they actually issue deeds?
I don't know what they issue, but there are several people there who, I've asked them about the cute little fences and the lights and the picnic tables. It's like, oh yeah, part of the membership, I was able to buy this site because I always want to come to this site.
Well, there's a number of things in their conditions on their CUP that they're not complying with. And the county did issue a notice of violation about 1.5 years ago for the extended stays. And their attorney convinced the county that everything was fine and nobody was staying there more than the 90 days that their CUP
Right,
allows.
well, I know when the new manager came in, she asked myself, and when Deputy Hines was out here, how many of these people have lived here? And we went, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. And we showed her which ones I knew were I mean, it was like, yeah, I know, I come through here all the time, and these people are here. And she issued eviction orders to all of them.
Well, that must have been why the county wrote back and said, well, like, we've done our investigation and we're satisfied nobody's been living there.
Right, because they were not happy at corporate, I guess, about these people living there. Because last thing I heard, they wanted to dump like $1.5 million into the place to fix it up. Because according to what the manager told me, Soledad here generates the most complaints from users of any of the 1,000 trails in the system. So they were going to clean it up and renovate. I know they've been doing work on the office. They've done work on the community room. They're working on, they did some renovation to the pools. They're doing some things to clean it up.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they pulled a 40-yard bin out next to a big, it was almost a mobile home that caught on fire. And that was about 4 months ago, and I see two guys out there, and they pull a piece of metal off and they throw it in, and they're gone for a week. And you see them out there again, and they're kind of just scratching their head looking at it with a hammer. And
Make sure it didn't move.
yeah, that is still sitting there in the midst. But I was just wondering exactly, because it just seems like it's becoming a hot spot in Acton.
It has its peak. I mean, it's a cycle, and it goes clean for a while, and then we have it. And we've been going in there more because of some recent issues, and it's mostly between one or two people. It's not the whole park, and we're trying to resolve that right now. But as far as the vehicles, when they had a new maintenance manager there like 2 years ago, it was not the park manager, it was the maintenance manager. And he and I went to all those places and I tried to run all the VINs of all those vehicles. Most of them have been unregistered for so long they fall off the system. Well, in order to sell it at a lien sale, they have to notify the last owner of record.
Or just post it.
Or post it, but,
In a public.
and I told them they need to do that. And he started to do it, and apparently the management didn't like that. And he cleaned up, we removed like 10 or 11 out of the park that had been there for years, had broken windows, flat tires, and they got rid of them. Because the other thing is, they said, well, you can tow it at the owner's expense, but if you don't know who the owner is, the tow company's gonna say, well, it hasn't been on the system, we're not gonna tow it. I can't tow it, it's private property. So as long as it's behind the fence, well, unless it was involved in a crime, there's not much I can do with it.
Well, I'll send the email to Norman. I'd like to erase the gray areas in this and start moving on and just get it cleaned up. So whatever we got to do, all of us going together.
Yeah, it's,
If you go in with me and Norm says that they're not doing it right, I'll bring in a tractor and we'll crush it all up and throw it in the trash.
hey, the aluminum might be worth something.
Is it still actually 1,000 credits?
Yes. They sold it again, from what I understand, and I mean, this is just going by what the manager was telling me. So it's not a development company like who had it, it's more of a campground company. But they have other venues, they have condos, they have other parks, but they're running it now. And they're offering all sorts of membership. They have, if you remember, you couldn't go in unless you were a member. Well, now you can rent weekly spot.
As of Friday, we had approximately 40 people signed up for our classes and start later this month. So we're still accepting people to come. I encourage everybody, if they haven't had one, cert class, take one. So that's about it.
Mentioned the position change?
No, not yet. There's some changes coming between Acton and Dulce and cert.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Sorry, thank you.
Another message for Jonathan Trevelyan, and I think he's a nice guy with great intentions, but I don't think he's gonna have the time to do our 501c4. So I did speak with Randall Fink again, who gave us the other offer, which was $1,400 with no money up front and no payment until we have the money and no due date or deadline. So we can pay him $100 over the next 10 years if we like. He'd like to help us out. He says he doesn't need anything to get started. So I'd kind of like to ask everyone else's opinion, if that sounds good. I think we've burned 2 months since we've been elected and we really haven't gone forward with this, and if it's okay, we can put it to a vote.
Let me ask you a question. You and I had a conversation the other day, and you indicated that we have to be an official corporation and then designate it as a 501c4.
Yes,
So it's a two-step process?
it's not a two-step, it's all part of the process. When you're forming a corporation, you'll choose what kind you're gonna be. It can be an S corp, which is one, a C corp, 501c4, C3. So it's just part of the process. The thing with the C4 is that your corporation will be formed, will be up and running, we'll have bank accounts, we're running. We're not a non-for-profit until that C4
Designation's there.
goes through the federal government, and they're a little behind the scenes.
Yes.
And I was behind the times getting it done. Randall did say that the longest he's ever taken for a C4 was 14 months.
Okay.
I know others have said it was 2 or 3 years, but he says he's done, I think he's, I'm quoting, I think he said 6 of them. And it's never been longer than 14 months. And he says, we're pretty cut and dry.
And there's no way to do it necessarily without a lawyer involved?
Well, there's always the way. I mean, you can, they have legalzoom.com, but I think the difference between doing it that way and this way is at least we know it's done correctly. And, you know, that we aren't going to have any issues down the road other than, you know, just filling out forms and doing things. So he had also asked, he said, because when we first sent out some emails, when we first got up there, I kind of just sent the email to him and CC'd everybody, and then there was kind of some convolution going on, and he says, you know, I can't send one email out and get 10 responses, it'll consume his day, so he said he'd like to have one liaison with the council, and then that person could update everybody else, and I told him, would you like me to do it? And he actually said he would prefer to have the person that's the longest standing board member, which Mike is smiling over here.
I should learn to be quiet. So Ray, that would be Ray over there on. Think I got out of that one, maybe?
So,
Yes.
so with that said, and the reasoning was that you would know the most about how the council's put together, how it runs, and I said, what a coincidence, you're actually the person working on the bylaws committee. So it would just fall right hand in hand with what you could do.
Okay.
So if we have a new vote of the $1,400 limit that will not have to be paid in any of the near future, and if we don't have the money, there won't be any late fees, no upfront fees. Anyone who would like to, since I'm the president, I don't get the vote, somebody has to say yay or nay, and we can move forward with it, and I'll get it started.
I so move.
Well, second.
Everyone for or against, a vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Yes, I.
All right,
Very good.
all right, it's passed. I will let Randall get started.
And you'll copy me on the correspondence, and then I assume I will start communicating with him?
I will send out an initial email saying get going, and then you will take the ball and run with it.
Thank you, sir. We'll negotiate something here.
Okay, sounds good. Number 9, updated liability insurance. I think this is the biggest thorn in my side. I have not gotten anything back from either insurance company, except phone call saying they're still working on it after I've hounded them. So I was thinking, Pam, you're in contact with the people of the board. Yeah.
Yes.
If you gave me a name and a number, I could do it, or if you would
Oh,
like
okay,
to.
perfect. I'll give you that name and number.
Give me a name and number, because they had said that they do have liability insurance for their 501c4, and I'd just like to get the name of the company and we'll.
No problem.
Okay.
Hand that right over to you.
Well, that was easy for me.
From the Hanford Group?
Yes.
That was quick.
I know. Sometimes I know, sometimes I'm not. Some horrible.
All right. Okay, committees report and update. Planning, coordination, trails, open space, recreation committee. Jack.
Okay, well, there's a number of things going on. First of all, there's a non-conforming review, CUP, CEQA categorical exemption project that's going to be heard by the hearing officer. it's a project at, where am I? 13130 Soledad Canyon Road. I don't know if that's in Acton or not, I just got this an hour ago. But I don't know if the prior town council had approved this, or,
Is that an RV park?
well, that's the thing, it says it's a continued operation and maintenance for an existing recreational vehicle parking. It's not an RV park, it's like a facility, you've got
Yeah, I
storage
don't know.
equipment, so, did you guys ever,
I'm sure we
approve
did
any
not,
CUP
no.
or anything like that?
No.
So this needs to be looked at. The hearing is on March 17th, because it might be one of the facilities that you were,
Could be.
because I don't know this address, so I will look into that. I've gone through the Regional Planning Commission hearing agendas, and the main thing that's going on that seems to affect our community is, potentially, is discussions. They're having hearings almost once a month for the next few weeks, the next few months on the renewable energy ordinance. The draft for this has been out for a long time. I commented on it over a year ago when it was first introduced. It addresses renewable energy utility scale, which is large, to 20 megawatt systems, as well as residential solar systems, as well as wind turbine systems. And I've been reviewing it while we're just talking, and I've got some concerns with it. But it's something that we should, like the hearings are going on or starting, they'll be starting next month. Well, it's February now, so this month. Ray's given me a copy of this. We should all take a look at it, because I'm concerned about a number of things. So, for example, they have a decommissioning plan that's required, and that's something I insisted on for turbines, for wind turbines, but it only seems to apply to one of the utility solar programs, and I haven't seen if they even have applied it to wind systems. So, at any rate, I don't know if you want to post a link on the website to it so everybody should take a look at this, because like it or not, Acton, a large part of Acton is in what they call a renewable energy opportunity zone. They call them CREZs, C-R-E-Zs, and that was a map put together by the California Energy Commission about 10 years ago. And Acton along the ridge line looks like it's a promising place for wind turbines. Each turbine is about 1 megawatt, and they're 100 some odd feet high. And also large parts of Acton have also been identified as ideal solar, utility scale solar generation. And you have probably heard a lot, there's problems with some of those systems that have been installed up in the Antelope Valley with dust control. This requires them to maintain vegetation to sort of keep the dust down. But the problem is that when you put a whole bunch of solar panels up, there's no sun that gets down to the dirt. And the plants that survive here like a lot of sun, obviously, and they don't survive very well. So I assume Regional Planning has done a lot of work and gotten a lot of technical information on the viability of some of their suggestions here, but we should all look into it anyway.
Was there any provision in the updated area plan for keeping solar out of the Acton areas, the rural areas?
The utility scale solar is not allowed in SEAs or economic opportunity areas. Residential solar is, of course, which, but as far as I know, that's the only accommodation for that. So, probably I would say maybe a third of Acton is within the SEA. Maybe it's just 25%, but the rest, of course, would be fair game for any of this, including those. They call them power towers with the solar thermal systems and the concentrators and.
Those things that look like the sun up on a
Yes.
stick. Yeah.
Those solar plants generally need pretty flat areas
Yeah.
to operate in. The solar collectors type plants, not panels, but.
Yes, but I have seen, even in Spain, where they've designed them up hills to go right at it is possible. It's all just line of sight, really, for designs on these things. The other thing, and I've only just, had this for a very short while, so I'm only probably a third of the way through. But one other issue that is, in my opinion, a big concern is many of those large solar systems that have been put up in the Antelope Valley. For example, Edison's got one, Ivanpah, which is almost, many thousands of acres of desert. all of the ones, I've gone through a lot of their permits on the CEC website, and all of them, or most of them, also have a huge thermal combustion natural gas combustion component. So literally 2/3 of the energy coming out of these solar plants is really natural gas combustion. And the concept was to put a solar plant there, and so we have all the transmission lines, all the new transmission lines going to it. But why don't we put all our natural gas turbines and gas combustion up there? Then we can shut down all the plants down in LA. And so, there's going to be a significant increase, in my opinion, over the next 20 years of combustion pollutants in the Antelope Valley in order to clean up the LA basin area. Yeah.
What, part of what they discussed the other night at the Rural Town Council had to do with a lot of that problems, and they're talking to different people about getting a science, somebody from the science community out there and taking a look at part of what you're talking about. The other problem they had, excuse me, was that they had permission to use the water out of some wells and stuff out in LA County, but they were all into Kern County. They didn't have a permit for that. So this is what those people were really.
And they'll truck water in, because it's all, they don't care if it comes from the local groundwater or even Acton's groundwater, because it's all truck mounted for the washing anyway.
They have a lot of problems with that. Now they're building roads in part of that's in Kern County, that it's going to come into Los Angeles County, and they're trying to get away without getting permits to build those roads in our county.
Well, I think that this might handle a lot of that. Like I said, I've only read maybe 20.
So this is part of what was going on at that meeting the other night.
Well, it is worrisome. And for example, the Palmdale Solar Hybrid Project, I don't know if you've heard of that, but it's 50 megawatts of solar and 600 or something megawatts of gas turbine generation. So it's all a big greenwash. They're all green projects, but they're really not. So, but I don't know if that's addressed in here either. If because all those thermal plants are permitted by the California Energy Commission. But at any rate, I encourage the public to read and comment on these, because we're looking at them here potentially. I mean, it could be. So, and then there's a notice of public hearing for a living suite ordinance, but it appears to be limited to areas that are zoned with the residential plan development, RPD zone, which I don't think we have any of those.
Notice of public hearing for what?
A living suite ordinance to allow you to sort of put a residential area within your home, with an extra kitchen. But it doesn't.
RPD.
Residential plan development.
Is that like a second unit, basically?
No, it's within your structure already. So it's not like we already have a second units ordinance or a granny house ordinance or whatever they call it.
But I think in planning, when I've dealt with that before, it was, you could do, it doesn't have to be a separate structure, it could be within your structure, but they won't allow you to have a second, at least previously, they wouldn't allow you to have a second kitchen because that can be considered a rental.
Right, I
What
think
they're
that's
doing
what
is
this is doing.
They're allowing you now to do this?
Yes, but it seems like it, again, the hearing is, where am I? It's on here somewhere.
February 25th.
Oh, thanks, it's February 25th. But it seems to be constrained to just RPD zoned areas, which I don't think Acton has any of those anyway, which means that this would not be allowed in Acton anyway. I don't have a land use map or zoning map in front of me right now, but anyway, that's it.
Is that it?
Yeah.
One question about the yard sale ordinance. Where are we on that? Did we make any comments on that?
We were going to read over it, and
I've got several comments from the community regarding yard sales for community organizations, women's club, churches, things like that.
why don't we discuss that in full business? Or,
This is
yeah,
all right.
do it then.
Oh, yeah.
That's good.
Okay. Pam, high-speed rail?
Okay, it was busy last 2 weeks with the high-speed rail. There's many items going on right now, but I'll back up a little bit. On Saturday, January 24th, 4 of the town council members went to Hanford to meet with the Prop 1A attorney and get a rundown of what's happening up there in the Central Valley and how they're progressing with their Prop 1A lawsuit, which is coming up very quickly. They should be going to trial sometime in May. And so Jackie, Catherine, Chris, and myself went. And there was also 3 community members that made the drive, this couple right here, which I'm very happy, and Kathleen Trinity. So I printed it, or it's in the Country Journal. It's a beautiful article, explains it in great detail about what happened up there. So I'm probably not going to spend a whole lot of time. I'm just saying, read the article. You'll understand it very well. If anybody has any questions, please call me though afterward if you've got any questions. And then if Jackie, Catherine, or Chris have got anything to add about the Hanford trip, probably jump right in right now so that I don't go on to my next thing. Anything?
The only thing I like to add is that, you know, again, I'm catching up to speed. You guys have been doing this for years, and I've been doing it for 8 months. I was just kind of surprised that there was a little bit of information that I'm still learning about. And first of all, in case anyone here doesn't know about that wall that they're going to hit, I think it's important to talk about that. And that's part of the whole process of just, you know, not helping them, so it takes them longer. But October of 2016, they're going to hit a wall. And if I misquote any of this, please jump in immediately. But October 2016, they're going to hit a wall. They have the Prop 1A funds, which they have not been able to spend. And up there, their attorney, you know, I thought they had lost the lawsuit, but what he basically came out and said is that they filed a lawsuit on Prop 1A that they were not allowed to spend the money because they had not abided by all the Prop 1A rules. They won the lawsuit, and then it was overturned in the appellate court because the problem was that they have not gone out and funded Prop 1A, and therefore they haven't spent any Prop 1A funds, and therefore they haven't done anything wrong yet. So they were told that, yes, you proved your case, yes, you won, but it's overturned right now, but keep everything in your files because if they try to spend any Prop 1A funds, then you can refile your case and you'll win as long as everything's still status quo and they haven't changed any other thing. So that was better news for me than just losing the case. And the second one, now they're going and they're going to try to stop the federal funds. So the federal funds were given $3 billion to them, and it was based on a 1-for-1. They were supposed to, for every dollar of federal funds spent, they were supposed to spend $1 of Prop 1A funds. So now they're going after them saying, well, you've only been spending federal funds. You haven't spent any Prop 1A funds, therefore you need to stop spending federal funds. So if they win this next one coming up, that'll be great for the whole state. The second thing that I didn't know about was this wall that they're going to get, whereas any monies they haven't spent by October 2016, they have to give back to the federal government, which means they're out of money, they can't do the construction. So we're only 18 months away from that.
I think it's September 2017.
Yeah, 2017.
Is it 2017?
But it's the same idea.
Because I could have sworn he said October 2016. At least 2 or 3 times.
2017.
Okay. But that's the whole thing, and that was why everyone's been recommending when they ask for permission to enter your property, don't give it to them. Because now, if they do want to enter your property, they've got to go through the court process. They've got to get all their documents together, and then eventually they will come on your property by force, but that could take another 6 months. And 6 months out of this wall is going to make a big difference. And if it takes them all this time for everyone, they can't just group us into a class action and say we want access to everyone's property at once. We're going to do it all individually. And so everything we can do to drag our feet in the sand and go kicking and screaming will help get to that wall.
They haven't gotten the whole $3 billion. They've gotten $2 billion. So they're trying to stop them from getting the balance of the 1.3 because it was 3.3 billion.
There's also a private funding component as well, my understanding as well, and nobody from the private sector has decided to put any skin in this game.
There's zero private funding that from my
Yeah, so there's a private funding requirement.
Requirement,
Yeah.
that's written in Prop 1A,
Well, yeah.
that they haven't fulfilled that either.
Wine and coffee.
I'll throw this in too. I spoke at length with the Transdev gentleman. He's one of the parties in, I think, he was on the Acton case. And he said that he would be potentially bringing another Prop 1A lawsuit And I asked him to throw in there one of his elements being this issue of secret compliance and the STB decision, and he said he would. And he, Transdev, and he is the gentleman who's filed the cap and trade lawsuit. And that lawsuit is based on apparently a study done by somebody in Berkeley, which surprised me because I would have thought Berkeley, I mean, I went to Berkeley, so I can say this, I can trash them a little bit, but would have been all over this and in favor of it. So, but I told him I would go over the calculations in that report and shore up the concrete calculations for greenhouse gas assessments. So I'm going to help him with that as soon as I get a chance. At any rate, so there's two other lawsuits that are just throwing barriers up again, so.
The biggest issue that I'm trying to work on right now is they need our financial support up there in the Central Valley in Hanford. There's 3 plaintiffs that have fought tooth and nail to stop this project all over the state. They're just not working for their community. It's John Toss, who is a farmer, Aaron Fukuda, and Kings County. I have a letter here from them that I passed out to some people in the community, in the audience here before, but please make sure you take one. And in reference to that, we've decided, the coalition has decided that we're going to go ahead and do a fundraiser here in Acton on March 14th, and it will be a spaghetti dinner at the community club. I've got the date reserved. It'll be from 5 to 10. We're going to have a DJ, there'll be raffles, a silent auction items, a 50-50 drawing, and anything else that we can come up with that can raise some money. We'd like to be able to send, as much as we can, but my goal right now is $5,000 to send up to these guys. They've raised $500,000 themselves, not just in Hanford, but in the surrounding communities. And that's for their legal fees, for their paralegals, for their expert witnesses, for everything that they've spent money for. If they win, we win. Bottom line, if they win, we win. We won't have to fight it down here anymore. It'll be over. Sure, it'll probably get appealed, it'll go to the appellate court, but that's going to take them time, and then hopefully we'll reach that drop dead date of September 2017.
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you thought about inviting Aaron and Michael, the attorney?
To come down?
Yeah, I did. I've sent them an email. I'm hoping that they'll even come down for our day and be there available to talk to people and help us in the fundraising efforts. Our Facebook page is coming along very well. We've got quite a few hits on it. And my little assistant, my high school student, is coming tomorrow, so we'll do some more improvements on it. So anything that you'd want to add onto the Facebook, please let me know. Send me an email or call me. Tomorrow, Jackie and Chris are going downtown to meet with the high-speed rail engineers, correct?
Yes,
10 o'clock. 10 o'clock.
and I'll meet you there.
We can do it either way.
I've got a couple other appointments I'm going to try and.
Sure,
make in the
that
morning.
sounds good to me.
Okay.
And do you want to say anything about that, Jackie or Chris?
I think we're just going to go there, and Jackie's got a couple of ideas and a few questions, and it's an opportunity just for us to pick their brains a little bit more with a few more questions.
Well, I also hope to point out to them that with respect to Acton and Agua Dulce, there are opportunities to daylight the train and keep it underground and away from people's homes in these communities. So without pointing out a route, of course, one can point out, and I plan to point out certain points, for example, along the LADWP transmission line, which is all on, I don't know who owns it, but the assessor parcel map number ends in 901, so it's probably some federal government, maybe BLM land or something. But there's some opportunities there where the elevation is actually about 2,400, which is even lower than the 26 at your house where they're shooting for. But I also want to take the opportunity to sort of lay out for them where challenges will come from at least me, if not this whole community, with respect to CEQA and NEPA. Actually, as a corollary, I don't know if you mentioned this, but one of the attorneys there who is representing the Mercy Hospital in the CEQA, there's now six CEQA lawsuits. He was there at the meeting, and he clarified the day before that meeting in Hanford, they'd had a pre-hearing conference, and the Attorney General, Kamala Harris's office, asked the judge to throw out all of the CEQA lawsuits because the Surface Transportation Board has decided that no CEQA compliance is required here. And the judge said, no, I don't think we're going to be doing that. So that is a huge victory there. So those lawsuits will be proceeding. And following that course of action, I would like to lay out for the engineers all of these issues with respect to noise assessments, noise impacts, and other impacts, how potential CEQA lawsuits will roll out if they don't address them properly in the EIRs that they prepare for, and EISs that they prepare for our community. Because I've looked at the Fresno to Merced and Merced to Fresno and Fresno to Bakersfield EIRs that have been certified, and there are a lot of problems with them. They don't comply with CEQA at all. And so, which is probably why High Speed Rail asked for exemption or preemption from CEQA. So at any rate, I'd like to talk about those issues also, and lay technically out on the line for them. This is what we're looking at. We don't look at these things. And one of those things is alternatives that have no impact on Acton and on Little Zay.
Quick question. What you're going to be discussing with the engineers is as an individual as opposed to representing the council or the coalition, or is it part of the coalition, or how is that presented?
I did not go to the Hanford meeting as a representative of the town council, and I'm not going to the meeting tomorrow on behalf of the town council. The coalition, I have no idea.
I agree. I'm going as a representative of the town council as an observer. Jackie has several facets to her life, so she's got to separate them. So she's on the town council here, but then she's got her engineering company, and when she files these other documents, like the one that you filed, it was strictly for you, but you know, we would all benefit from it, but we can't tie ourselves too closely to some of these things just for old liability issues and how it would all just come back up in our face. So I'm going as an observer.
It's just like go up in my face.
Right, not yours, mine.
Bring it, I'm ready. I got my anti-snap motion going.
She's a fighter, so and I'm glad you said that because we were going to talk about that, but
okay.
that's probably the best way for us to approach the whole thing, and it always lets us have one step behind. Yeah, it always lets us have one step behind to defer to a different date and come back with a response for things too. So, okay, well that's great. Anything else, Jackie?
Nope. For me,
So that's tomorrow you're going?
Yes.
Tomorrow morning, yeah.
Excellent.
At 10.
Anything else, Pam?
Yes.
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 If that's the case, why are you reporting this at a council meeting? If you're going as a citizen, private citizen, to have a meeting, I'm confused.
For the same reason coalition's being reported at the town council. Coalition's not part of the town council either, so.
It's just an exchange of information, and I'm going as the president of the town council to observe.
I understand that. But I think it's a little, well, maybe I'm the only one, but I think it's a little confusing. Or a little, I think the high-speed rail they know who's on the council and who isn't, the high-speed rail authority. Is this going to be confusing to them? I don't know.
Unless we put a letter together and it says supported by the Acton Town Council, then it doesn't.
Then everybody's a private citizen.
Right. The reason Pam reports on the coalition because she's the chair of the coalition, but she's also on the council. Her position is the liaison to the coalition.
I understand that.
Right.
I'm asking about this.
Understand.
About what?
Well, you're going to meet with high-speed rail authority engineers as a private citizen or an owner of your engineering business, I guess, right?
Well, actually Pam put this meeting together, so there is a coalition connection, which is why she asked me to comment on it. Well, in December, you were the one who talked to Rick, and Rick said, yeah, I'll meet with her, and then you indicated that to me.
So I did.
That's the
I'm
connection.
just bringing it up because it's probably going to come up again with other issues related.
Well, I have
to this.
absolutely no problem with just doing all of this and not reporting on it, but, so I'll do whatever you want.
Well, I don't know, I'm just asking the question. I'm asking the question because I think there's a line here that
It
needs to
could
be
be,
defined. or
from what I hear
something.
you saying, it could be confusing, someone reporting from here about what they're going to be doing, even though it's in support of the community, it could be construed as the council doing it as opposed to the individual. Whereas Pam is clear that it's a liaison, and we try to say that every time it's on the agenda under a liaison, maybe there's a different way to present it or do it or whatever. I think the information is
I
good
think
that
the
everybody
information is
has.
excellent and Jackie does a fabulous job. I'm just
I think by bringing it up here,
concerned about
it.
that.
It's
clarifies
transparency.
things more. I think if we didn't bring it up and somebody said, well, why did Jackie and Chris go over here and is it for the council, is it, then it would be confusing. So we're clarifying it here and, you know, I think transparency is important.
Yeah.
And I think this is it. And Jackie said it before I had asked the question. We're definitely going there as two individuals. I'm representing the council as an observer. I'm not there to answer the question. She's going as a engineer and a citizen, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, obviously, it's one of those things where you don't want to say it, but if it goes great, it's going to go in our favor. If it doesn't, it's, you know, it's not a problem.
Again, the council, as in the past, works best when we work with the community, whether it's a coalition, an individual, a group of individuals, however it works, and that's how we're trying to fashion it. But I understand what you're saying, keeping the lines of communication somewhat clear on who's doing what, where, and how, and all that.
Yeah, that's what I think that's basically what I.
And I just want to make a comment about the coalition. As far as the coalition is concerned, I'm going with what the gentlemen up in the Central Valley have always said. Don't give them a route, don't help them, do whatever. Okay, so that's why I'm not going to the meeting tomorrow, that's why Chris is going. Everybody there at the High Speed Rail Authority knows we're all on the town council. So there's no secrets here. It's just that we have different views about what we want to accomplish. And right now, my goal is to work on Prop 1A. Jackie's goal is CEQA.
Are you suggesting I'm going to give them a route tomorrow?
Well, I don't know, Jackie, because you haven't talked to me, so I have no idea what you're doing. And you have suggested in the past that you might want to do a route, just like...
No, what I plan to do tomorrow is point out to them where they can daylight the train and keep it away from homes where it daylights. That is all I'm going to be doing tomorrow, and I have the maps here if you want to look at them.
Okay, well, in the past, you suggested that if they just moved it 1,500 feet to the east and south...
That would only keep it in the national forest. I never suggested a route. What I suggested was where they would enter the national forest, and that would keep it out of Acton's boundaries. I
Okay,
have never suggested a route, and
Okay,
I do
well,
not plan to do so today.
that was a route, Jackie, and it was
No, it was a
drawn.
place to enter the national forest. There was no route.
But either way,
We need to be
Yeah,
calm
that's why
and stay
we're-
united.
right.
And sometimes it looks like we're a little divided. So I would appreciate it if nobody put a route on there because we're trying to fight the Prop 1A. If we win Prop 1A, we don't have to worry about CEQA or anything else. And some other community members have gone to Antonovich and other places and tried to put a route on.
A lot of community members have drawn routes. I am not one of them, and I do want to make this very clear. It is the high-speed rail that recommended the route on the east. They told us at a community meeting on April 5th that their plan is to daylight the train at Juniper Ridge, right? Juniper Ridge, it would be daylight there, and then head over, vector over towards the red dot, which is where you live, Chris, mostly above ground. And so that was the route, and they had suggested a study area. At that time, this community recommended that they shift that entire study area at 1,500 feet to the east and put the train in the forest outside of Acton. And there was a a drawing that was made, an actual topo drawing showing an arrow point where they could enter into the forest, and that was the only thing that was on that presentation slide, was a point where they can enter the forest outside of Acton. But that was only because it was the high-speed rail that has recommended the route going to the east, pursuant to a letter that was read into the record written by Supervisor Antonovich in October of 2013.
Well, I think the real thing is everyone's goal is the same, is to stop the train or have it zero effect on Acton, and there's definitely going to be different opinions on how to get there. And the other thing to remember is we're all friends working here, and we can't control each other, but we can't stop any person here in Acton from writing a letter to high-speed rail and drawing routes, or making recommendations, or us doing nothing. So, you know, we'll have to work together, and sometimes we can go in as a group and write a letter as the whole council, and other times we'll go in like tomorrow where Jackie's got her recommendation, and I go in as observer, and we see what comes of it.
I believe in the past, the council's position as a council has been twofold. Keep it out of Acton, or it has to be here underground. That's the only official position that I'm aware of the council has taken.
Well, the more open conversations we have with them, the more opportunity we have to maybe get a different piece of the puzzle or a little more information.
Absolutely.
And, you know, I've always said if you're going to have partners that do different things than you do, so you get different results, and there's different ways of looking at things. So tomorrow, Jackie and I will go in, and here's two opinions, and Jack will ask a lot of questions that I wouldn't dream of asking, and I'll ask questions that she probably wouldn't think of asking. We'll see what we can come out of it tomorrow.
Chris,
So.
do we need to make a motion here that you be representing the town council?
I don't know. Do
We generally would not need
You know, we've done this before.
Yeah, but generally we would not need it as long as Chris from the town council stays to the
Well,
official position of the council.
I just don't want any.
I understand.
Well, I'm not making any representations tomorrow.
They
And
they
I'm
know
not
who
going
you
to
are.
Well, yeah, but you're gonna actually be representing the town council. And that's what I'm worried about, is that if that's the case, then you really need this body to be able to vote that it is up to you guys to pass on what we want to pass on.
Well, I don't know
I don't think I
if
passed
you would
it.
want us to represent you, but if you did, here is the map I was going to show them, and it just shows 2 dots at 2 elevations, no lines, no routes, no nothing. So if you want to look at that and say, this is something that we want to represent to the town as a town council, then that's fine. Whatever you guys want to do.
Well, we don't actually have a position that we've agreed on,
Yeah.
that I know of.
Yeah.
So-
I've
so-
never heard of unified position, period.
Okay.
So that's just,
I just want to make sure that.
yeah, but I'm not going there, I'm going there as a representative, but I'm not there to make statements, recommendations, anything saying the council wants to do this.
Well,
It's not like
yeah.
that.
I
I'm
understand
there
what
to
you're
get
saying,
information, I'm not there to get.
but what I'm worried about is that they can come back and say, hey, we discussed this with you 2 members, and they tried to get between us. That's what I'm worried about.
Well, they can say what they want, but unless they've got one of these in my
But
hand,
it-
I'm signing something.
Well, I don't know about that.
And it's clear in our meeting tonight, and I'm sure the minutes will reflect it, that Chris is going there as an observer and a representative of the town council who can represent our position, which our position historically has been, keep it out of Acton, keep it underground. Those were consistent positions of the council. Other than that, if it says, no, I really think you should put it over here and make sure it goes to Pam's property, then he violates the council, and he's in deep trouble.
Yeah.
You know, it's real easy for the president, or any member of the council can appear before anybody or talk to anybody as long as they only represent quote-unquote council positions. Once they get into personal things, you know where we're coming from, right?
I understand what you're saying, but, and I also understand the other end.
You're just overly cautious, I know that. I can understand that too.
Okay, is there anything else, ma'am?
Yeah.
Back there, Becky.
Kathy Hamilton is a writer with the San Francisco Examiner, And today, I think Lillian got it and I did, there was, and I haven't read it, so I have to be honest with you, the Department of Fish and Wildlife Services actually have taken a position that the High Speed Rail Authority has endangered a specific animal, which was the kid fox. And so they've taken away 9 acres of this endangered animal's habitat. So they're going after them. We'll do more research. I'll read more about it.
I read the article.
Did you?
Yeah,
Okay.
they actually, also, I think, collapsed in one of the foxholes.
Yeah, they actually went in.
And they actually used their 9 acres. It was the High Speed Rail Authority's contractor, and they used it for staging equipment, removed the top 2 inches of topsoil, all the
Yeah.
grass, feeding grounds.
And that's Tudor Perini, which is Feinstein's husband. So they're just doing whatever they want and plowing forward. Yeah, and Kathy Hamilton has written probably 200 articles. And so we will be putting a link on our webpage that Sandra Beck is working on for us that will refer these articles. The next community meeting for the high-speed rail here in Acton is February 9th, which is next Monday night, from 6 to 7:30. We'll be talking about our fundraiser. We'll be talking about making sure that everybody that has gotten the letter.
We're very far, pretty far along. The subscription and the registration is up and running. We have the minutes up. I put the minutes up, the draft minutes up, and so Catherine will be able to do that.
Draft minutes or final?
Both. She'll put them up as draft minutes, and then when they're finalized, she'll edit them and finalize. Okay. So I took the draft minutes tonight, I put them up and labeled them draft. So that's on there. I also have the agendas you sent me. I'll put the agenda up today when they're done.
Okay.
Okay. So and I'll give you instruction on how to do that. It's really easy. Okay. So we'll have the agenda on there. What I haven't got to is the developer stuff. The developer stuff. The developer questionnaire and checklist and instructions.
So if we go to council.org right now, is the website up and running where the public can?
No, it's still
It's still in building
it's
stage.
still in building stage. The whole website is still up, but we'll get that switched over for the next meeting.
Okay.
Because it's actually, there's enough of it up now where we can put it up without needing to. So,
All right. Anything else?
regarding the website though, the high-speed train stuff that you're talking about, instructions for people to, how to deal with requests to get on the property. If you want to write an article about that, we can put that up there.
Okay,
There's a lot of opportunities for us to
okay.
reach people that way. And of course, they won't be able to look at it till next meeting, 2 weeks from now. But,
Ray, anything on the rural town councils?
Okay, all right, I went to that meeting last Wednesday, and I took part of it with Jackie. The other thing is, I give you a letter that they were talking about sending to, about all of the molesting and so on that's going on in the areas. And there's a letter here that they made up, that you can either follow it or we can make out your own, or we could, the whole council could write the letter. It's to try to get some literature with Tom Lackey, our congressman, and senator from Sacramento. And so you read this, you probably have to do it by individual, because you might not have it in time. There's a certain time. So if you guys want to go ahead and read it and then decide what it is.
that's this letter
Yeah.
here. Yes. So you originated this?
Yeah, I think it's, and there was a long discussion, long discussion. Okay.
It's a letter regarding what?
Sexual predators, and keep them out of the
Out of the rural
Oh.
communities.
I get it. else said what I had from out there in the valley.
Okay, finance, ways and means, Dora?
Nothing really. I mean, we're looking at, it's harder in the winter time because personally the weather really affects a lot of people. But we'll probably be looking at doing some more fundraisers, whether it's something similar to what the high-speed rail. Ogwood Olsey actually did something recently where they did a fundraiser, but they incorporated the town council. So at the end of the day, the town council was able to get some of the proceeds for that. So I'm looking at maybe doing something like that. We'll probably, as we get closer to the summer, look at something like that. We need to increase the money we're bringing in. You know, we have $1,800 right now. We're looking at spending $1,400 for the 501c 3-4. You know, the insurance will cost us some money. It would be nice if we had more money. I'd be the first person saying we should be sending money up to Hanford because, again, it helps everybody. We don't really have the funds for that. So I think it's incumbent on us to try to work harder than we have in the past to try to increase our funding.
Did you ever check and see if that you could do download the monthly statements and stuff online and see how that would work with the bank?
No, I haven't talked to the bank yet about that.
Okay. So, excuse me?
The fees, or is that what?
Well, it was just sometimes the statements are getting lost in the mail. Oh, I see. So just be able to download it online. Easier
Right.
to order.
Yeah, we've had issues with the bank as far as getting statements in a timely manner, but no, we're not charged any fees right now.
Michael Hughes, Bylaws Committee.
Met with the little subcommittee I had on the standards of decorum. We tossed around a few ideas. I'm drafting up a draft, kind of down there. Anyway, putting together a draft to send back to them, and we'll review it again, try to tighten it up. I should be able to present it to the council at our next meeting in March.
Okay, and then those bylaws can then be incorporated.
But they're not bylaws, they're standards of decorum that would then need to be referenced in the bylaws, but they're rules guidelines and rules we abide by as council members. We're expanding that also to put some suggestions out there on public input at the meetings, how that is to be conducted, and a little bit of guidelines on that as well.
Okay. Then Utilities Committee, that's me. No update. Movie standards and decorum.
I guess that's not the bylaws, so we'll go to decorum there. It's kind of all overlapping. Decorum is probably better to put with bylaws than it is community standards.
Okay. I can switch it up.
That'd be good. Anyway, community standards. I'm in the process of holding a first meeting on the community standards revision committee. I've addressed a request to LA County to see if we can have Carl Nadella as our point person for the county to help us through it, because he seems to have the best understanding of anybody so far out there of rural and what that actually means to us here. And we've worked with him for the last several years on the area-wide plan. He'd be the normal selection for that. I should know an answer to that within the next day or so. I've got our first meeting scheduled here, which will be an article in the papers this weekend, if I get it out to Lillian, which I will have it to you tomorrow. It will be. First meeting will be on the 23rd of February here at the library from 7 to 9 p.m. And there'll at least be monthly meetings after that. I have 3 or 4 subsequent months already set up, but we'll just focus on the first one first and go from there.
Okay. Then beautification, illegal dumping.
I just got another photo of another billboard, another sign that it was painted over and now then the graffiti's back on it, so we'll have to give that to Deputy Short.
Okay.
Is this a new billboard that's graffiti?
No, not a billboard, it's a
okay.
sign, it's
Oh.
a sign. It's the one on Sierra Highway.
Okay.
So.
Emergency response disaster planning.
We had a meeting, this initial meeting last month. I think it was mentioned in the minutes about a medical response group, trying to formulate a medical response group for the coalition. We've also had a meeting on the 27th, I believe it was, down in Burbank, regional area where all of the different coalitions reported. Got some updates on where we're at this point in time, where we're going to be going for next year. And that as well, I also met today with, I guess the Rangers, the proper title, Ranger Blount over at the Forestry Service, about involving them a little bit more in the resiliency activities as well. When I was over there, I checked on our mobile trailer, mobile command center that we've set up there, just to check and see where it was and get keys, make sure they all worked right. And I've been meeting with Cal, who I guess left already, on setting up, the storage facility, not only there, but down at the community center as well, which is already there. Just a little fine tuning and cooperation with the CERT organizations. So it's moving along.
Okay. Public Works, I still haven't had a chance to get started on that, but I will. So, Community Center, Mike?
Community Center is again. They have several functions coming up. The spaghetti dinner that Pam mentioned is set up for March 14th. Young lady's looking at setting up an animal event. I'm not 100% sure exactly what she's doing, but it sounds like fun. I can't remember her name, Rhea or something like
Rhea,
that.
at the vet's office.
At the vet's office. But pretty neat little thing. I'm sure she'll have publicity in the paper as soon as she gets a little more
She's going to
fine-tuned.
do monthly events.
Yeah, and it'll start in, I believe, April, because she's going to try to do
No,
one later in March.
she's going to do March. She just switched
Just
dates.
switch dates.
She's got the next
Yeah.
Saturday.
And then Sandy, when's a little night music scheduled?
April 18th,
April
which is a
18th.
Saturday.
Good.
It's a pretty nifty evening.
It's always a
If
great
any of you
event.
have been, if lots of you haven't and never have heard of it, but we haven't done it, we didn't do it last year, but we have done it 14 years.
What is this?
It's called A Little Night Music, Drama, and Dance. And it is a collection, or it's a show of local talent. It's not a talent show. You have to audition, and the show is crafted to put together so that it's, not all people playing the piano or people singing or whatever. So it's very nice with refreshments on the patio, etc. And it's a fundraiser for the community.
Yeah, if you've never attended, it's a
Quite nice.
very nice thing. All right, we have some really extremely talented people in this community.
That was April 16th.
18th.
18th. Our community club liaison. Okay, I'll talk about it later, or did I already talk about it? Where am I at? Okay, anyway, this ties into the emergency response. I'm still working with the community club to get a grant from Southern Cali Edison for disaster emergency response as well. We've been working on that for a while now, and got a thank you back from Patricia, which I need to follow up with her on that, moving forward on that. But more of a partnership between the council and the community center. It's a good thing. All good for the community.
Chamber of Commerce, yeah.
I don't think there wasn't any party. I wasn't invited if there was. No, they're just starting their meetings, and I don't have the date yet.
Okay, school board, Lillian?
I had the opportunity to tour the new construction site, and the first classrooms are going in, and I believe by now they probably have the culinary arts band room building probably set. I think as soon as Superintendent Willard has the date when a large thing is going to be set, and they'll have it with the crane and so forth, they'll call for another group of people to come and look at it and watch it being done, and I'll be invited to that, I don't know. And other things are just moving apace, and the school board got positive certification on the budget from LACO. So they're in good shape, and I understand there's rumors out there that they're falling apart. Those are absolutely false. And it's finally turning around, we're moving forward. The only big problem is still the declining enrollment. I mean, there's just not that many young people in the area right now, or that are going, but they're making improvements, and as the high school opens, I think they're hoping to draw a lot of kids back.
How much is the enrollment down from last year compared to this year?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's not as bad as they thought it would be, but it's still going down.
And Meadowlark is okay, right? I mean, I heard Meadowlark was back up, that some kids have come back from Albert Einstein.
Well, no, they're not necessarily back. There are some kids whose parents didn't want them to go to Einstein, and so they had the option of going to Einstein, going somewhere else, or going to Meadowlark, and some of them actually moved over to Meadowlark. So the numbers at each school may be altered, but the overall enrollment from the district is still down. Just isn't down as bad.
Well, do the Einstein students count as district enrollment? They do, don't they?
They're kept kind of separate because it's, there's a partnership agreement between the district and Einstein. But I think they keep each of the schools has its own report of numbers and so forth. And I don't think Einstein is actually considered part of the district in terms of ADA, because they get ADA separately. Because they are a public school, Einstein. So it's all, there's one thing I've learned over 25 years of covering the school board. The whole education system is so complicated and so enmeshed in regulations, and it's just incredible, and it's not, doesn't help. Districts suffer for all this complicatedness, and they spend thousands of hours just trying to keep up with all of the things that the LACO and the state require. So, at any rate, I think we've got some decent leadership, and it's moving ahead, and the school is definitely going up, and it's going to be beautiful. It really should be.
Yeah, I remember when you put together the enrollment projections with that, I was working on the school district and all that. That was before a lot of the educational funding was cut, before they had to expand and go in. Looking at Einstein, which then separates out some of the students, it's a horrendously complicated system just to keep your head above water. Throw in that the economy's been in the toilet for the last 6 years, therefore there's not been any new development, therefore not as many school-age students coming in. But all of that may be turning around, but they're staying afloat at the moment and progressing, which is a marvelous thing, to say the least.
Yeah, the school board's been doing real well. We're one of the few communities that is looking forward.
That's right. If you look at all the districts throughout the state of California, there's a lot of them that are suffering very badly. And the state is doing nothing to help. They're spending money on trying to put a high-speed rail in instead of educating our kids. It's just incredible dysfunction in priorities, but it is what it is.
We still do not have a liaison for Friends of Acton Park, but does anyone have any updates for us? Anything coming up in Acton Park?
I don't think they haven't given us any events to publicize for them, so as soon as they have an event, they usually send it to us and we get it in, so.
All right, the Women's Club, Pam? Any parties?
No. Meeting, you want me to report on it?
Yeah, would you, because
The
January
Acton
wasn't
Women's Club
to be.
meeting is the first Wednesday of every month, and this coming Wednesday, the meeting will be held at the historic Hitchcock Hall next to the Presbyterian Church, and that's what I gave you the information. And part of the, it's a membership meeting, it's an open meeting, all our meetings are open, but there's going to be a program on the historic part, something about what we've done in the past, the history that we've gathered and collected, is going to be presented on Wednesday. So if any of you are interested in attending, either
What time on Wednesday?
Pardon me?
What time?
Wednesday at 11. It's always at 11. Our meetings are in the morning. And while I'm speaking, could I be on the agenda in the future for the Acton Arts Council?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And I do have an announcement for that. Huh?
Surprise.
Surprise. May I, while you're writing that, may I make my announcement?
Absolutely.
Um,
You're next in line, I just wrote you in.
I have here, and you'll see this in the paper, though it won't be in color, and I have them at the library, and this is on our website. Our Young People's Art Show is going to be in this room on March 14th through the 20th, and we've had it here before. Last year it kind of fell apart because we didn't have a very good response. This year we have 4 teenagers who they did this. They put this together. They did a website. They did a YouTube video on how to enter, and they're very excited about getting young people to participate. And the theme is superheroes in my life. So one piece of the art that each young person submits should be about something about a superhero in their life, and it's all explained on the website, and it's pretty neat, and I'm really very proud of them for the way they put this together. And we have it here, and on the Saturday, we set on the Saturday the 14th, we will have a reception for the artists, the young people, their parents, and any person or business who wishes to give an award. We have an award system, not a judging system for this show. So that if you want to give an award, for example, if Pam wants to from her company, or whoever else has a company here, I don't know. We ask you that you give them $20 and you come to this reception and you just select the one you like the best. And it's really fun, and the kids love it. It's great recognition for them, for their art. And this room will all be set up, this will all be gone, and we'll have kids art in here up from 5 to, 18, or K through 12, basically what we do. So, if any of you have kids that are interested or whatever.
Is there an age limit?
5 to 18, K through 12 is basically what we do. And then,
Have all the submissions been submitted?
oh no, that's, there's to be submitted by March 7th.
Okay.
So there's a couple months to do that.
Is there a type of art? Is it sculptures? Is it
Oh, those categories are listed. We have, what are they? You'll ask me now. Painting, sculpture, pen and ink, photography, drawing.
Oh.
So we have all, I think we have pretty much. I think there's computer generated as well. So it's pretty wide open.
Sandy, do you want, I do the enrichment for the Boosters Club at High Desert. Do you want me to let Michelle Becker know she's running the arts and crafts?
Oh yeah, she does. Well, here, I'll give you some of these.
Okay, that would be great.
They look better in color than they're going to look in the paper in black and white, but
I'll let
thank
her
you.
know. Sure. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And
If
in fact,
you need-
I'll
if you
plaster it around the High Desert.
If you
I mean,
need,
if that would be.
that would be excellent.
Okay.
Okay, unfinished business, garage sales. Mike, you said you had some comments on that?
Well, just there have been some community comments regarding the provisions in there to restrict the number of garage sales and things like that, especially for organizations like the Women's Club, for the high school. I think they have that at one of the schools there. Different groups like that. I think it's mostly aimed for individuals having multiples and turning into a business, but there may need to be some exemptions for community organizations.
Should we ask Norm about that?
Yeah, definitely.
May I ask a question? You're talking about the star sale ordinance as if it's something that we just need to accept and maybe just get an exemption for a group. Why not protest the entire thing? It is taking away people's rights. There are laws on the books already that prevent some of this, and all they have to do is enforce the existing law. but they're talking about registration, if you want to have more than what you're allowed, and paying permit fees.
Yeah, travel on the weekends, that people have their own business there every weekend, same yard sale, same thing, it's a business. You know, so I understand that, I don't think we have that here, but you know how politicians are when they put together ordinances, they always put in something there just in case maybe something's happening, they can come in and control you and control your property. Not that we're paranoid out in this area, but
Well, paranoid is healthy.
I've always learned you're not paranoid if they're really out to get you. You know, so.
There's only one that I know of that's perpetual, and it's on Crown Valley Road. And, but then if they're gonna require a permit, where are we gonna have to go to get this permit and all the, that's a tax,
Right.
as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, it's a fee.
Yeah,
It's a
well,
permit fee,
I'm calling it a tax.
which is a tax.
Right.
And you're right.
Yeah.
Half my property tax bill is fees, so.
I forgot to figure out one thing, now, when I was at the meeting the other night. And that is that the group, and whether they're going any further or not, I don't know, but there is talk about making a statewide council type of thing. Because what they were talking about is that the rural areas really don't have any power. It's all in the cities. And they were trying to organize that kind of, make a rural, total statewide. I forgot to bring it up earlier.
I read something about that Nevada right now is investigating it, and they're using that as a template. California and Washington is supposed to, but Nevada is starting to have the rural councils basically have a little more power.
Yeah, well, it was trying to organize a statewide.
Well, I mean, give us more power, I guess, but.
Yeah, we'll have to keep somewhat a close eye on it because it was set up like the Association of Rural Town Councils. That's a big problem.
Yeah.
That
And that's what they were talking about. And how do you do that? But it is because of, we don't have the power. We don't, I mean, that's all they were after. To stop some of this monkey business.
Yeah, but you also know how it was set up originally by one person's fiefdom, that they ran the whole thing for years and years, and I'm not sure they've totally got away from that yet. So we have to make sure we're protected in anything that comes up like that.
I'm surprised, I thought I just found an obscure article that it's coming up in this other.
So anyway, I forgot to bring it up, sorry.
So I'll see if I can find the article, I'll bring it in next time. So I'll send it to everybody. Okay, well then, back to the garage sales, because I'm really on the fence. It doesn't, me personally, doesn't affect me one way or another, and on the other hand, I didn't think it affected that many other people, because I don't see that many garage sales going on, so I'm open to any suggestions, or just tell them to leave Acton out of their ordinance.
They won't do that.
They won't do that.
And it's countywide, it's countywide. But the point is, my point is, that it's a creeping paralysis. It's just one more thing where the county or a state government, in this case the county, has the right to tell you what to do on your property, and I object to that. I really do. There are certain things, I mean, I think in terms of a community not turning the property into a junkyard where it, reflects on the rest of your neighborhood, that's one thing. But to tell people that they have to pay a fee to have a garage sale on a date other than what they're dictating, and they are dictating when you can have your garage sale. What possible right do they have to dictate that?
I have one
And the
person.
more we let them do it, the more that, today it's yard sales and tomorrow it's something else, and we're already facing a big crisis with this groundwater legislation. You have just lost all of your water rights. I don't know if you understand that yet, but you gotta look at this legislation. It's bad, and it's there, and there was never any time for public input. They rammed it through, and the governor signed it quickly, and there we are.
Power.
Well, of course they're power hungry, and and water is lifeblood.
Well, I think they're gonna take everything away from all of us.
I think that's what they're doing now,
Right.
yes.
For example, like with us, we have our own water rights. We have to fill out papers all the time for that. And, they're gonna take them away from us.
Yep.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind.
We have water rights too. I mean, that was, we have water rights too on our property.
Not at all.
No, they're not a nice, that canyon like that, what you're in, it's illegal for you to drill in that river bottom. That belongs to me.
Well, I'm not drilling in river bottom. I'm up about 400 feet, so
Yeah.
I'll be tape measure.
Yeah.
No,
But that's the file on that.
Right.
On the Aliso Canyon, that's our file on it. We've had that for years and years.
Well, when they
And I
did the
think
title
they'll
search
take
on our
it all
house, they had to clear that water rights for us for
You can't, you're not, it's illegal for you to drill
in
in
the river bed.
the river bed. If you get outside, above that,
Okay.
that's a different story.
Okay, and then just to bring it up under new business, this came in, it was a flood control, it said the announcing the release of the EWNP PEIR, Program Environmental Impact Report for the Enhanced Watershed Management Program. So I'm not sure when all this comes in together, and Jackie, have you read or heard anything about this?
I think it's related to a lot of the Irwin efforts that have been going on. I know, Lily, you probably been following some of it too. But no, I have not read that specific document. But a PEIR actually is, it's a general document that discusses a general direction that you're going to go for this program. So it's actually a very important point at which to comment, because it's sort of a, you know, what the vehicle is going to look like, and so.
Well, the website where they said we can check the information is www.lachohsheds.com. So, and I'm not sure if that H, yeah, it's
Is
gotta
it
be,
Regional Water Quality Control Board that's doing the PEIR, or LA County?
this is Los Angeles County.
Public Works.
LACHO?
I'll give you this.
LACO,
LACO,
LA County Watershed.
yeah, H2O, sheds.com. LACO. And then they also mentioned CEQA and a couple other things in here, but it's just kind of like a little thing about what we're thinking about doing. And it says that we are in what's called the flood control district. The other communities, we're in the Santa Clara Upper River. So, anyways, I have this stuff if anyone wants to look at it.
It's worrisome to me, though, that it's a .com website. That's why I was wondering who's really putting this together. You said .com, right?
Yeah, I can print this, yeah.
No, that's it, no, I wrote it down, I just, it's, well, I'm flat out, I don't have no
Okay.
other time for anything more. Somebody needs to pick that up and do something with it.
Well, I'll read through this and report back. So, we are now into, right,
Still unfinished business.
yes, anything else unfinished?
Just to note that we still have an open council position.
Thor, you sent an email, if you had someone interested?
Still back there, Dave?
Yeah. I was thinking about it. I haven't really made a decision yet. I mean, this is the first meeting I've come to, and I kind of wanted to see what it was all about. Can I give it some thought?
Okay, if you'd like to, just send us in a letter.
Okay.
If you're interested. Little resume so we know you.
Okay.
I had a thought, you know, we all have a circle of people that we know. I think if everybody went to, every council member, found 4 people who they thought would be good fit for the council and said, hey, will you, I think between all of us, we should be able to have some good folks to choose from.
Great idea.
So everybody, I think, should be responsible for at least making contact with 4 people. Hopefully not, we don't all travel the same circles.
Well, I talked Mike Hainline into putting his name, so I've done my part.
Yeah, but Mike hasn't, he's,
She doesn't show up?
yeah, he's.
So, he was here for the first couple meetings. and-
Yeah, I think he did probably wanted to back out, I don't know. I mean, you know, he was, maybe he was disgusted with us that we didn't do it
I
right
don't,
then.
know. I know he was here for the first 2 meetings afterwards, but then,
Okay.
Well, I just wanted to ask if he had withdrawn his name or not, because you were considering it last December, I guess it was. or-
Well, he was the only person that had sent a letter in, but we had also considered that his attendance prior to this year's council. Last year's council wasn't exemplary. So we were just considering other people, and
Okay.
we didn't feel an urgency to jump right on filling another seat right now. So, okay. Any other open agenda items? Okay, open forum. Anyone has anything they'd like to say? We must have went through a lot of stuff and it's getting late.
Let's go home.
Then I will adjourn the meeting.
Wait,
Wait, there is something?
yeah, we talked about maybe starting the meetings at 7 o'clock instead of 7:30.
When did we say this?
I don't know.
There has been a suggestion from the community that we start earlier at 7 o'clock.
I find it hard to get here at 7:30.
That was always my
But
thing.
but it interferes when it gets later in the year, or in the summertime. Then we got a problem. You know, a lot of us, you'll work a hell of a lot longer than that.
That's true. Just on that, some of the organizations have changed till 7, and I know some people on the council have mentioned that at one point in time or another. And so,
Well, I'd be against it, but
you
Mike said,
work all the
I
time.
don't get through it until late.
I know.